All right, folks, let's talk about some of the biggest NBA scandals that the league would rather sweep under the rug. But lucky for you, I'm here to make sure these stories aren't forgotten. We're diving into the dark side of the NBA today with 4 scandals that will make you rethink how you view some of your favorite players. Enough of the intro, let's jump right in.
The Suns are in the midst of a big 6-game road trip without Jason Kidd. He's staying home after being accused of hitting his wife last week. The Suns guard is not expected to play until the end of the month.
We all know Jason Kidd as one of the best pass-first point guards to ever play the game. A Hall of Famer. A guy who, at first glance, seems like one of the good ones, right? I mean, even when he hilariously spilled soda on the court to stop the clock so he could draw up a play.
On a miss, then you only needed 2 to tie with plenty of time to push in transition, just over 8 seconds remaining.
Tyshawn Taylor bumped, and there is some spillage on the Meeks. He nails it, trailing 97-94. Here's a 3 for the tie, off the rim.
Most people laughed it off as one of those sneaky, clever sports moments. But you see, if we peel back the layers, it turns out that Kidd's history isn't all fun and games. Back in 2001, Kidd pleaded guilty to domestic abuse. He had punched his then-wife, Jomana, in the face, and her statement to the police was chilling.
Right now, basketball is secondary, and my wife and my family, we've made, we've agreed that, basketball, that I will return to play basketball, but, right now is not, time to, play basketball, and my teammates understand that, and the Suns have cooperated in a big way and supported us in this decision not to return to basketball at this time.
She reportedly said that this was nothing compared to what she usually endured, suggesting there was a history of violence. Fast forward to 2007 when Kidd filed for divorce, alleging that Jomana had physically and verbally abused him, even installing tracking devices in his car and using their son to spy on him. But here's the kicker. Jomana countersued, claiming Kidd kicked her in the stomach while she was pregnant, leading to severe health complications. Oh, and let's not forget the allegations of multiple affairs and Kidd's later guilty plea to drunk driving in 2012. Yeah, folks, Jason Kidd was a brilliant point guard on the court, but off the court, not exactly the role model we might have thought.
While Jordan has made all the big plays in these finals, Karl Malone has struggled, scoring 7 points below his average with 17 turnovers in 4 games.
For summer already, every guy have to look at himself. Not a pep talk from coach or myself or John or anybody else. Yourself. If nothing else, how are you going to be remembered?
Next up, we've got Karl Malone, a 14-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, and an absentee father? Yep. While Malone is celebrated for his time with the Utah Jazz, his personal life tells a much different story. When Malone was just 17, he fathered twins with a woman named Bonita Ford. The kicker? He didn't just walk out on the family. He straight up denied the kids were his. It wasn't until a paternity test confirmed that they were his children that he finally settled out of court, offering minimal support. Oh, and one of those twins? WNBA star Cheryl Ford. At least he eventually attended a few of her games, so there's that, I guess. But it gets worse. In 1984, Malone had a 3rd child with a 13-year-old girl when he was 20. Let that sink in. He had a child with someone who was barely a teenager. And rather than stepping up, Malone denied responsibility for his son, Demetrius Bell, who went on to be drafted into the NFL. Even after a judge ruled that Malone should pay just $125 a week in child support, chump change for a guy making millions, Malone still tried to duck out of his obligations. Karl Malone, ladies and gentlemen, an MVP on the court, but far from it off the court.
It will be a 5-year term in state prison.
A 5-year prison term for former NBA star Jason Williams.
Now, this one is tragic in every sense of the word. Jason Williams was a solid role player during his career and even became an all-star in 1998. But, unfortunately, his career and life took a dark turn in 2002 when Williams accidentally shot and killed his limo driver, Gus Christofi. After a night out with his friends, Williams went back at his home, and as the story goes, he was showing off a shotgun when it went off, fatally wounding Christofi. Now, an accident is one thing, but Williams didn't stop there. He and others in the house tried to cover up the incident, staging it to look like Christophe had shot himself. The authorities didn't buy it, and Williams was eventually charged with manslaughter. It took 8 years for him to be sentenced, and he ended up serving just 18 months in prison.
I've been to the graveyard more times to see Mr. Christophe than I have been to my dad. I'm terribly sorry.
Williams also apologized to his family, friends, and fans.
Please forgive me for the pain that I've caused to you, my children. You deserve a better father, son, brother than I have been.
Christophe's sister, Andrea Adams, held a picture of her dead brother as a court employee read a statement she wrote saying Williams deserved more time in prison.
To add to this sad story, Williams was reportedly haunted by what happened, battling alcohol issues and depression in the years that followed. It's a story of a life and career derailed by a single horrific moment. Now, the number one scandal on this list is one that divided fans for years: Kobe Bryant's sexual assault case in 2003. At the time, Kobe was only 24 years old and already one of the NBA's brightest stars. He was playing for the Lakers, who had just won 3 straight titles from 2000 to 2002. The NBA had essentially made Kobe the face of the league. But then came the accusation that would change everything. A 19-year-old hotel employee accused Kobe of sexual assault. Kobe admitted to having sex with the woman, but claimed it was consensual. What followed was a media frenzy, with companies like McDonald's and Nutella cutting ties with Kobe almost overnight. The Lakers, too, faced a whirlwind of drama as their golden boy was now fighting a serious charge that could have sent him to prison. The case was eventually dropped when the accuser decided not to testify, and Kobe settled a civil lawsuit out of court. But the damage was done. Kobe's clean-cut image was forever tarnished. He later admitted that he had learned a lot from the incident, and over the years, he worked hard to rebuild his reputation, even becoming a family man and winning over many of the fans he had lost.
To what extent do you think having gone through that a positive impact on you and really made you better long term?
Well, I think it's it challenges who you are as a person. To have to go through something like that, not only individually, but as a family. And then, for the organization, the Lakers organization, my teammates, it was extremely difficult, and you kind of had to do some soul searching because you're fighting numerous battles at the same time, and you're just kind of trying to figure your way through all of this mess. And the only thing that you can do is just put one foot in front of the other and just continue to move forward. And there's nothing else you can do. There's times where it just seems like days are just endless. This is never going to end. This feeling, this dark time is just never going to be over.
But no matter how much Kobe grew from that moment, this scandal remains one of the darkest chapters in NBA history. And there you have it, folks. 4 NBA scandals that the league would rather you forget, but are too big to ignore. These stories remind us that while professional athletes might be superhuman on the court, they're just as flawed as the rest of us off it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I cover all things basketball, from wild what-if scenarios to deep dives into NBA history.